there. So I realized this is not the best camera. It's the camera on my computer. But part of what I wanted to talk about today is just going for it and having the confidence to do something, whether or not your circumstances are perfect. A few days ago, maybe a week ago, I wrote a blog post about being confident. And what had kind of spurred that was my oldest son, Jackson, who's 4, got in trouble for getting into mommy's makeup when I was at work. And his reasoning for getting into mommy's makeup was that he wanted to be beautiful like mommy. And then he also wanted his baby brother to be beautiful like mommy. And on the one hand, I was really flattered by that. My son thinks I'm beautiful, I hope. And more so, he wants to be like his mommy. But on the other hand, I was like, oh my gosh, does he think that I'm only beautiful when I wear makeup? Or that maybe that's how I feel about myself, is that I'm only beautiful when I put makeup on. Now, I love makeup. I think it's a great medium for self-expression. I have, lots of different color eyeshadows and tons of mascaras and lipsticks. But when it comes down to actually doing a full face of makeup, I usually stick with mascara, blush, and lipstick. That's my day-to-day look. That's my go-to look. Um, if I have meetings with, a lot of meetings with really important people, or if I have to go somewhere and representing my company, um, then I'll, go ahead and put on foundation and primer and do the whole thing. But generally on a day-to-day basis, really, I might only get the lipstick or the chapstick on. So hearing my son say, I want to be beautiful like mommy by putting on this makeup kind of made me wonder. I don't wear it all that often, and so I began to think, how am I portraying myself when I'm wearing this makeup? Does my attitude about myself change when I've done a full face of makeup versus how I feel about myself every single day? In a perfect world, I believe that the answer would be that, you it stays the same. And in my thinking, I feel like it did stay the same. Like, in my mind, no matter what I'm wearing, no matter what makeup I put on my face, I feel 100% myself in my own skin at this point in my life. Now, 20 years ago, or even 10 years ago, that might not have been the case. And I can tell you it wasn't the case. But now, at this point in my life, I love who I am. I love, I love my skin. I love everything about myself, pretty much. Could I stand to lose some weight? Absolutely. From a health perspective, yes. I'm overweight, so I need to lose that weight in order to maintain my health. But in the aspect of beauty, no, I think I'm great. I think I'm a pretty great person. And I want my son to feel that way about himself. I want him to feel that he doesn't need to make any alterations to himself to feel confident, to feel good about himself, to feel handsome. I want him to know that he is who he was created to be, and that he just needs to remain true to himself and find his compass and stick to that compass in order to be his best self. I draw a lot of inspiration lately from other women who have gone out and kind of forged their own path. They've, started businesses or managed businesses, or maybe they are, stay-at-home moms, which in itself can be its own business. Managing a household is not for the faint of heart. That's why if you come to my house, it's not really done well. But I've been listening to podcasts about these women who are successful, who are honest about their success. Not that they have, this magic formula on how you can be successful too, but who are willing to admit, yeah, there were a lot of bumps and bruises, and, I didn't always feel so confident, but I kept going and I kept pushing through. And I find those women really inspiring because, I feel like even at this point in my life, there's always something I could be doing better. Whether that's a better manager as a boss, being, more organized, or being, on top of um, all of the latest things that are pertaining to the industry that I am. Or I could be a better blogger, which is really one of the things that I want to commit to this year. I want to commit to my blog because I feel like I have a unique voice in that I'm not only a mom and a wife and, a working woman, but I'm also, I'm a boss. And I also genuinely care about women and women's issues, as well as, the education of, my children. Being a boy mom has taught me just how important it is to be my best self as a woman and to bring that into their environment so that when they're, later on, even not even looking for a spouse or someone to date, but when they're looking at somebody maybe to partner with on a project, or, maybe that their boss is a female, that they'll have the appropriate response to that person and not as a female. And that, there's a delineation there, but that delineation does not stop them from progressing because they're hung up on the fact that this person is a woman. So that is one of the things that I've become very passionate about in even just in the past few months, especially after having Hunter, and just, kind of realizing, okay, this is who my family is. It's Hunter and Jackson and my husband, and we're in this together, and I represent this part that's, besides me and the dogs, is not represented in a large scale. So it's my, kind of my responsibility. It's on me to, you know, show these boys essentially how to do it, and how to be, how to be open-minded and to think about it. Um, I'm not necessarily sure I'll be creating feminist boys, although I did hear a really great quote that it's easier to create a feminist boy than it is to create a feminist daughter. And the thinking behind that was, you're telling your son essentially, okay, this is how you treat women. This is how you respond to them. You treat them as equal. Whereas when you're trying to raise a feminist daughter, you're essentially saying, hey, look, I know the world's going to treat you like crap. The world really wants you to fail at pretty much everything. And this is how you overcome that. So you're almost starting behind rather than ahead, which I thought was a unique perspective. I have two boys who will probably always identify as white, even though they're part, Hispanic. Their main identity is going to be white males. So they are already kind of ahead of the game. And as a Hispanic female, I'm like, oh crap. Like, what how do I get them to understand that just because of their skin color and their sex, that doesn't automatically mean things are going to go their way. Like, I don't want them to have that idea that, oh, I'm a boy, essentially I'm a white boy, and so I'm going to get my way. That doesn't jive with me. Um, so that's been a very interesting dynamic that I've wrestled with, and it's just become, it's something that I want people to talk about. I want to talk about it more, and I feel like by blogging, doing videos on YouTube. I'm even thinking about maybe doing some podcasts, just getting that voice out there. and just going for it, because I feel like at some point you just have to go for it. There's never going to be a perfect time. All the stars are never going to align. You kind of have to just go for it and maybe make it up as you go along, but essentially, like, pull in those pieces. It's kind of like the Super Mario game. Like, you're running along and you're gathering the coins as you're running, and sometimes you have to jump up and you have to hit a block, or you have to, get a certain mushroom so that you have superpowers. You just have to keep playing the game, though, and you have to keep progressing. And if you stop, you'll either get pushed off the cliff by a turtle, or the the demonic plant will shoot you with a fireball, or the turtle with the wings will jump on your head. You just can't stop. You have to keep moving. And that's kind of where I am right now and what I want to do. So I'm kind of just going to go for it and see where that leads me. If nothing else, I am doing this so that someday my sons can look back and say, hey, my mom was trying to teach me something. Here are her words. I need to listen. I want them to know that I cared, and that I cared about not only who they were as people, but the world that they were growing up in. And I want them to know that you can't just live in this little bubble. You have to look outside yourself in order to be your best self. So that's it for today. I realized that was kind of long-winded and maybe not as coherent as I would have liked it to be. I know this camera sucks. I'm gonna hopefully borrow my old camera back. I'll figure it out. I'll just keep going, and I'm just gonna go for it. So thank you so much for watching. And if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and we'll talk to you later.